Hello, here we are again. Today we'll continue to talk about the topic that we started in our previous video, the production of sugarcane in Madeira. In our last video, we saw the route that sugarcane had to follow to arrive in Madeira, and we also saw the role played by the island in the spreading of the plant in the Atlantic. We saw the method of sugar production, and we also referred to the downfall of Madeiran sugar industry in the mid-16th century. In today's video, we will talk about the rebirth of the Madeiran sugarcane production in the 19th century. We will explain why the cane spread again on the island and how it happened. Stay with us for the next 8 minutes while we drive in one of the most impressive two-way roads of Madeira. We take you today to Calheta. The return of the sugarcane production in the 19th century was done in a different context than in the 15th century. In the 15th century, Madeira was a new island with plenty of fertile grounds where to plant sugarcane. The demand for sugar in Europe was much higher than the supply, which generated huge incomes for the industry. And there was an easy access to working hands in the shape of slavery. One of these days I will talk about the presence of slaves in Madeira. Subscribe to our channel not to miss it. In short, Madeira had the perfect conditions to develop the activity in the 15th century. To say that the panorama was a bit different in the 19th century is an understatement. First, the fields were much less productive than in the 15th century due to the overexploitation of the soil. In addition, there were diseases to deal with. Second, the global demand for sugarcane products was higher, but the supply was even higher, bringing the prices of sugar to very low values. Besides, the sugarcane had a strong competitor in the production of sugar, the beetroot. Third, well, this must be the biggest difference compared with the 15th century. The cheap labor done by slaves wasn't an option anymore. As a result, a big investment had to be made in the mechanization of the production. So, why would the Madeiran landowners want to revive the sugarcane activity in such an adverse context? Well, the answer to that question is simple. There was a big economic crisis in the island in the 19th century. This crisis was caused by many factors, amongst which we can highlight the wine situation. Yes, there was something wrong with the wine production in Madeira. If you are curious about it, then pay attention to our next videos. We can say that the sugarcane was seen by the landowners as an exit from the economic crisis. In the beginning of the 20th century, the sugarcane was no longer limited to the south side of the island. There was also a big production in the north. The historians estimate that the quantity of sugarcane being produced in Madeira reached the values of the 15th century. Nevertheless, the income generated was much lower. This means that the economic situation was very far from the golden period of the 15th century. The technical improvements in metallurgy and in the steam power made possible the mechanization of the factories that bit by bit started to spread on the island. From all the factories built in Madeira, we can highlight the Torreão factory because of its modernization level and its size. This factory belonged to an English family, the Hinton family. Their passion for mechanization, associated with the easiness to access to capital and to the latest steam technology, gave them an important competitive advantage against the Madeiran producers. Besides, they also benefited from political protection. This protection was evident in the production of laws that resulted in the closing of many small factories. The Hinton family created a sugarcane monopoly on the island that endured until the 1980s. The second phase of the sugarcane history was no longer based on the exclusive production of sugar. There were other products that could be made with the plant, such as syrup and rum. These products stand out for their quality, and they are the basis of many Madeiran gastronomic traditions. This syrup is used in many ways, and is most commonly used as main ingredient in the confection of the Madeiran honey cake. The rum is the base of the most typical Madeiran cocktail, the poncha, but it's also used in the production of infusions of herbs and fruits that are often consumed as medicine. Yeah, some of these infusions can make wonders if you have digestion problems. The production of alcoholic drinks from sugarcane is far from being a Madeiran invention. There are records of such drinks in the 7th century in India and in the 14th century in the oriental part of the Mediterranean. Anyway, historians estimate that the distillation of fermented juice of cane, or molasses, was invented in the 17th century by Caribbean and Brazilian slaves. This was the birth of rum as we know it. It became a popular drink amongst sailors, and its most iconic representation is in the pirate culture. In Madeira, the consumption of rum was so high in the 1920s that the island was known as the Rum Island. This was seen at the time as a public health problem that could only be solved by closing many factories and implementing restrictions on the production. Anyway, Madeirans, like many people everywhere, found a solution in the production of illegal homemade rum. There is still some of that being made. You should keep distance from it. It is rocket fuel. The restrictions imposed by the government from the 1930s on in the sugarcane production had a big impact at the economic and social levels. In the south side of the island, many sugarcane fields were replaced by banana plantations, while in the north there was a partial abandon of farming activities, which led to intense migration movements. In the last 2 decades, the sugarcane production has been recovering its place once again, this time pushed by the increasing demand of rum. The poncha cocktail, that until the turn of the last century was mainly reserved to peasants and fishermen, became a popular drink amongst young people and amongst tourists. This led to an escalating demand of the Madeiran rum, and because of it the cane production doubled in 10 years. Nowadays there are in total 5 factories grinding cane in Madeira. The oldest of all is the factory of Ribeiro Seco in Funchal. This factory opened in 1883 and only produces delicious sugarcane syrup. If you go west, you will find another very old factory, the factory of Calheta. It was built in the beginning of the 20th century and it's definitely worth a visit. It includes a museum that explains the several stages that the cane has to follow. Besides, you can find here some of the most delicious Madeiran honey cake. In the northeast side of the island, in the village of Porto da Cruz, you can visit the factory of Engenhos do Norte. This factory was opened in the 1920s and it still has the original steam-driven machines. It is often referred to as being the only factory in Europe that still uses steam machines to grind sugarcane. Well, I have my doubts about that. After all, Martinique and the Reunion Islands are also part of the European territory. Anyway, this factory really deserves a visit because of its historical value. Besides, they produce some internationally prized rum. In the upper area of Santa Cruz, you will find the Reizinho Rum Factory that was opened in 1982. Back in Calheta you can find the most recent rum factory of the island, the Engenho Novo. This one started grinding cane in 2006. Such as in the 15th century, the cane produced in Madeira is nowadays used in the production of high-quality products. Many Madeiran labels of rum received world-class distinctions for their quality. You should try them, but moderation is required. After all, a hilly island like Madeira can become even hillier if you abuse on that kind of drink. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you are curious about this, then I definitely recommend a visit to the factory of Calheta and to the one in Porto da Cruz. Both factories offer a very good exhibition that's worth seeing. and if you visit them during the spring, you may have the chance to see the machinery work. It will feel like time traveling. You can also combine that visit with a full-day tour on board of one of our open-roof Defenders. They are a great way to see the island. Check our website for more information about it. And we're done for today.
Vamos por aqui mais atrás, senhor. Hã? Mais atrás.